Ed Hill from the Bristol Palestine Solidarity Campaign, and we're here in our town centre protesting against Trump's decision to relocate the American embassy to Jerusalem and to recognise Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. I always like to talk about history because it's really important that we learn, we understand the history accurately. So Jerusalem was captured in 1967 by Israeli forces, so it was acquired by violent means, and that's against international law, and the UN passed a resolution to say that wasn't supposed to happen and no other country in the world will recognise it, basically by putting their embassies there. So what Trump has done is to overturn decades of adherence to international law by all the other countries of the world, and this is an absolutely shocking and dangerous step. The reason he's doing it is to pander to the right-wingers in his government, the sort of people who retweet support for the Ku Klux Klan or even racist groups in this country. And the Christian Zionists, the evangelical right-wing Christians, which unfortunately make up a large slice of America. And also I'm holding up these postcards here, which are another important message of history, showing how Palestine was first of all a British colony, in fact brutally suppressed by the British, and everything that Israel's doing to the Palestinians now, ID cards, checkpoints, internment, house demolitions, and unfortunately torture, the British were doing in the 1920s and the 1930s. And this is a shocking stain on the history of this country. And that's why we as ordinary people want to see a better world based on peace and justice for everybody. But the good news is, here in Bristol there are a lot of links between our city and Palestine. Many people go across to Palestine to spend a couple of weeks helping with the olive harvest or planting new olive trees when they've been cut down. Faith groups, peace campaigners, circus performers, even our local community football team have been over and played sports leagues in the West Bank. And also, everyone will have heard of Banksy, who started his graffiti career here in Bristol, who is a brand large enough on the world stage that when he goes to Palestine and does his political murals on the apartheid wall, the world takes notice, although that's an embarrassment to our media and our politicians. So we can be proud to say that Bristol has got a lot of links with Palestine. Indeed, only a few yards from here is the only Palestine museum in this country. Opened 4 years ago, it was unique in the Western world. Opened by the Lord Mayor of Bristol and the Palestine ambassador. And I would recommend that anybody in Bristol or any visitors come and visit that museum. It is an absolutely incredible resource. We have Palestine solidarity groups that are both our Bristol universities and nearby in Bath. There are many grassroots groups in Bristol, Bath, Bradford-on-Avon, Melksham and Frome, all throughout the West Country. And we do our best to coordinate, and when there's shocking news like this, we turn out on our streets with our flags and show solidarity. And there's a lot more that people can do. Let's talk about the boycott campaign. If you're busy with your life, when you're just going shopping, look in your supermarket basket. Fresh fruit and veg and herbs will have the country of origin. If you see Israel, put it back on the shelf. Or better still, march over to the Manister and express your disgust. And buy Palestinian products. Olive oil and other imported products are really marvellous and a great gift at this time of year. So there's a lot that we can all do together, united across in our different communities, not divided by racism or other right-wing distractions, to build a better world. All human beings are equal and deserve a world that is safe and fair for everybody, for Palestine and for everybody. As I was explaining earlier, this is so out of step with history. It's against international law that certainly it's now an embarrassment to this country. And what I heard is that this government is not, even our government is not supporting that. So it just shows how America is going out on a limb in order to do this dreadful act. And perhaps it reveals to ordinary people what a sham it's been over all these decades. that America was supposed to be an honest broker for peace since the Oslo Accords in the early 90s to give Palestine a degree of self-governance. And this so-called peace process actually has been a smokescreen covering up what Israel is doing every day on the West Bank, which is suppressing the Palestinians, forcing them to live under brutal military occupation. And every day more and more land is being stolen for the building of the settlements, for roads which are only for the settlers. I mean, that is apartheid worse than what happened in South Africa. And the daily injustices, the torture, the abduction of children. Israel uses every new weapon it can think of to brutalize and suppress the Palestinians. And maybe now people can open their eyes and see what is really going on to make up their own mind about it and unite and try and stop it. The internet, you've got your friends, start Googling stuff, become good researchers. Yes, there is misleading information out there as well. So you have to be able to sort out the wheat from the chaff. But by doing that, you will be better informed. Honestly, 10 years ago, I was completely brainwashed by the British media. I didn't understand about Palestine. I didn't know it had been a British colony. I didn't know the British had carved up the Middle East. I didn't know that the British had made duplicitous deals left, right and centre to get people to fight on their side and then betray them later. I knew nothing about that. And, my eyes have been open, and I recommend that to everybody. And we unite with our neighbours and our communities in our cities to build solidarity for a better world.